The tragic Tennessee school shooting. What do we need? There's a cry for do something. Do we need more gun control or do we need more school control? And of course, we have to do something about it. People on the left and on the right, like me, are calling out, we got to do something about this. And there are things we can do, and I'll talk about that in a second. But it all ties in. We've had a headline on this show. You've heard me say dozens of times, what the hell are we doing to our children? And what the hell are we doing to our society? And this is all about the culture wars, right? These culture wars that way too many Republicans don't want to address. Way too many conservatives don't want to address, but we're not going to be afraid to address it on this show. What do we expect we're going to get? Take a step back. When we push victimization as some kind of inherent condition, caste system, they almost look at it as a right. You have a right to belong to some victim group and position yourself as a victim. What do we expect when stuff like that, identity politics, this whole idea of oppressed versus oppressors, who's the aggrieved class, who's benefiting from it, who are the white supremacists, who are the male, what do they call it, toxic masculinity. What do we expect? Do we expect to be unified when one group of people are placing these labels on other groups of people, and then when we don't agree with it, they call us the divisive ones, us the hate-filled mongers? So you got to who really are the haters? You know, we asked earlier, who are the pedophiles? Who are the real terrorists? Who are the real fascists? Well, who are the real haters? Those of us that say, no, your victim, your identity politics victimization theme doesn't work. Does that make us a hater? Or are they the hater for trying to pit one group against the other group? Who's really these are the questions we have to ask and answer and point out. It's up to you. We showed you that video last week of that father. I assume it was a father, that man who went to a San Francisco drag queen story hour, took the video and said, hey, who brought the pedophile? Now, that might have not been accurate, but still the point is made. Who brought the pedophile here? And to you, the parents in this room, why would you bring your child to see this smut? Why would you do that? Who's the real sicko in the head? We got to ask that question too. Who really are the people in need of emotional support and professional help? Who? Ask that question, answer that question, point it out factually. You don't have to do it maliciously. You don't have to attack people. So let's go. So let's look at this Nashville school shooting. Now, the early report said this was a teenage girl that ended up apparently, again, in the fog of war, in the fog of this early reporting, you really don't know what to believe. You guys probably, I haven't been watching the news in the last hour to get ready for the show, but apparently now it's a 28-year-old woman initially. But either way, within the last 10 years, and most of the school shootings we've seen have been from either people between the age of 18 and in their low to mid 20s. Basically young people. Basically, in my view, people who have recently graduated from our public education or college education, school systems. We're poisoning them. What the hell are we doing to our kids? We're teaching kids that one group of people oppresses another group of people. If they take that seriously, which many of them do, now whether that was the motivation of this woman shooter or not, who knows? But still, when we're teaching kids that because of your skin color or your racial background or your religion or whatever or your political philosophy, that you're either a supremacist or a hater or you're oppressing others. How are we not teaching kids to grow up with hate? 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 With hate So the question everyone's screaming today is more gun control. My question is, do we need more gun control or do we need more school control? All right, we know what the gun control advocates want. Now, you could ban the sale of semi-automatic rifles, but no Supreme Court, as long as we have a Second Amendment, is going to ever ask that people turn in their weapons. That's never going to happen. So what really good will any of that do other than to check some agenda box? The gun control solution, it's a false solution. We have hundreds of millions of weapons in this country. Banning the sale, I mean, criminals acquire weapons illegally, one way or the other. It's that simple. So even if you ban the sale, they'll find a way to buy them, acquire them on the black market. Might be a little more difficult. They might use some other weapon, a bomb, homemade bomb, or machetes, or whatever. So school control is what I say we need. And that has two components. So one of which is pretty standard. One of which I'm going to get to in a second is pretty controversial, I think. Folks, the kids are our future. They're our most precious assets. Apparently that school didn't have a school resource officer. Apparently the woman got in through either a side window or door. It wasn't locked down. If we lock down our state house, our government buildings, and we lock down our airports, why are we not locking down our schools? I'm sorry, it is today's world. There are sicko people out there. And it's the sicko people. It's not sicko guns, all right? Guns have been around in America for hundreds of years. We showed you images from Sears catalogs, pages and pages and pages in the Sears catalog of guns you could buy and just have delivered to your house. This goes back in the 40s, 50s, 60s. For any of you over age 50 or 60, you know that when you were in high school, especially if you lived in a rural town, you know that it was common for kids to drive to school with guns in the back of their pickup truck because they were going to go out hunting after school or something like that. Or it's just where they happen to keep their guns. We didn't have incidents like that, like this 50, 60 years ago. So why are they happening now? My theory is because we're teaching kids to hate each other. And now guns are there. They were always there. We didn't have problems before, but now you put unstable kids. And of course, people who are mentally ill used to be confined to some kind of, facility, right? Some kind of congregate care facility for those who are emotionally unstable. But that became politically incorrect. So now we mix, mentally unstable people in the population, whether they're homeless or not. We mix the fact that we're teaching kids in our school, through our school systems and in our society, to hate others for no legitimate reason, for superficial reasons. And now you add in the availability of guns and you got a toxic mix. But what has changed is not that guns are any more dangerous. What has changed is that people are more dangerous, and we're teaching them to be that way. We're teaching them to be hate-filled individuals, suspicious, if not angry, at the quote oppressors, whoever they decide, whatever topic of du jour they're talking about. So given that we have this toxic mix out there, what we've always had, which is guns, which don't fire themselves, unstable people, and people who are taught to hate others, yes, that we have to admit that is a dangerous mix. It's volatile. We don't know where it's going to rear its head. We've got to lock down our schools. We can't ignore it. We can't pretend that there's no danger. There are dangers out there, but it's not the gun. The guns were always there. It's only recently, in recent decades, that shootings have become a problem because we've changed the way our society teaches our kids. So we need school control physically, and we need school control to get these education and political supremacists the hell out of our education system. They've got to go.